Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's video is a little bit different. This is going to be a chat about social media in general and YouTube and what has become almost acceptable on social media, and it's not acceptable. It's not okay. And I think we have to just own that and face up to it and call it out, because this behaviour can never be acceptable. I have always said on my channel that I have absolutely no difficulty addressing criticism that is levelled at me. When I get comments that challenge me or that make me think about my behaviours or look at what I've been doing and reflect upon it, I welcome those comments, and I've quite often made videos addressing them and I think about them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The world is a tapestry of different opinions and views and interests and likes, and that's what keeps it interesting. But we can do that and we can remain humane. We can remain humane people with a degree of dignity and humanity and kindness. We teach our children to be kind. We teach our children to go out into the world strong, to have their own opinions, to stand up for themselves, but to respect other people and to be kind in how they express those opinions. And what has brought this back to my mind, I've talked about this in previous videos and I will come on to that, but what has brought this back to my mind is a video I watched from my good friend Meredith from Living Lux with Meredith only last night, and it was talking about Meredith having had a number of her bags stolen. This is not my story to tell, it's Meredith's, and I will link Meredith down below in the description box. She has a video outlining everything that has happened to her. Go and watch that video if you want any information on that. But in that video and on her Instagram, Meredith made reference to comments, or a comment certainly, that she had received, and she posted a copy of that comment on her Instagram. And it was effectively saying to her, well, you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve. I'm glad that happened to you. Maybe now you will stop over-consuming. You buy so many of these things, you overspend, you overconsume, you deserve to have your bag stolen. It serves you right, basically. What? When is that ever acceptable? When is that ever a reasoned and adult response to somebody having had their goods rifled through and stolen? But that's not what we're going to comment on or judge. We're going to comment on the person who was the victim of the crime. We're going to comment on the person who overconsumes, in our opinion. By the way, Meredith is free to do whatever Meredith wants. It's Meredith's money. She's not depriving anybody. She's not neglecting anybody. It's what she chooses to do as a collector. Why in the world does that mean that it's okay that she becomes the victim of crime? Why? And this was kind of levelled at Tamara all those years ago whenever she had the robbery in Paris. And a lot of people in the comments were saying, well, you put yourself on social media, so it's okay. You put your lifestyle on social media, so what did you expect? You kind of deserve it. People, no. Regardless of what anybody chooses to do to put themselves on social media, hi, there's my bags. To talk about what they buy, to talk about their interests, to create content for people who have like interests, and to create content for people who enjoy these, because there's not that many people in most of our immediate circles that we can share this interest with and share this love with. So to have an online community to talk to you about this, I have found it entirely refreshing. I have met some amazing people on YouTube. I have talked to you guys about things I would never be able to discuss, and I love it for that. But we can't ignore this other side of it. And it is not okay to sit behind a keyboard, because I do doubt, and I've said this in a previous video, that when you're sitting behind that keyboard, that you would be able to say that to the person's face. Would you have the courage of your convictions to walk up to Meredith and go, that's your fault, you deserved that? No, I really doubt it. And let me be clear, Meredith does not need me to fight her battles, and that's not what I'm doing here. Meredith has addressed this in her own video, go and watch it. But these comments, this one and a number of others I'm going to talk about, just, I suppose, pushed my buttons. And I wanted to come on here and talk to you about where certain levels of social media have gotten to and have become to some people acceptable. It's not okay. We teach our children to be kind. We teach our children to go into the world and respect other people and respect their opinions. Be strong, have your own opinion. That is what makes you an individual and keeps things interesting. But you can disagree with someone and have your own opinion respectfully. A lot of people in my comment box disagree with me often, but I am glad to say the vast majority of them do so respectfully, and we're able to have a conversation and engage about it, or I might make a video and address it. But I haven't found, to be fair, and thank you so much to the people that watch me, the vast majority of viewers haven't been mean, haven't been nasty. This comment is mean and nasty, and it is not okay. And what you might not know from watching Meredith is one of the best people you could meet. She's an absolute legend. She is so kind. She is so caring. She is there for so many people. She's amazing. She's an amazing woman. So to see that comment levied at her, no, it's not okay. What this comment reminded me of slightly was when Purse on Fleek many years ago put out a video talking about how she was done with Hermes. And she had been on an Hermes journey. She'd been spending a lot of money on Hermes, trying to get a bag. And then there was an email exchange between her and her sales assistant. And turns out she wasn't getting the bag. And she was effectively told, and I will not serve you anymore. And I will link Purse on Fleek's channel down below as well. And I made a reaction video to that at the time. And one of the things that I said in that video, and it resonates with what I have just seen Meredith go through, was that regardless of what you think of her, of how she acted with Hermes, of how much money she spent, of the journey she was on, of how she emailed her sales assistant, regardless of any of that, regardless of what you think of that, coming for her personally is not okay. And what came out whenever that was going on with Purse on Fleek back at the time was that she got a lot of personal attacks, and she got attacks on her family, and people were commenting on her children and where she lived. And we can all disagree. I will be the first, whenever there is something said on social media that I disagree with, to come on here and react to it and talk about it, hopefully respectfully. That is what, when you put yourself on social media, there are going to be reactions. There are going to be people with other opinions. And there's going to be people that challenge you. There's people that challenge me on my opinions on my videos regularly. And it's refreshing. But what is not okay is when those reactions and challenges become personal. Who has the right to take that to the next level and attack Purse on Fleek's family and talk about where she lives and make that such... She's talking about handbags, people. If you don't agree with how she's buying her handbags or what she do, fair enough, talk about that. But to make it about online bullying and about her personal self and her personal life, just no. And we have to kind of face this, I think, and say, this is not okay. And if you don't agree with me and you think that this behaviour is okay, you and I are never going to agree. Because we can all challenge each other, but we can do so without personally attacking each other. Another example of this that has been quite prevalent on social media recently was when Niki Sky made a video talking about how she was selling all of her luxury goods. She was no longer interested in them. She was getting rid of them, and that she had effectively had an epiphany. And in that video, she talked about her personal choice, but then she also talked about luxury buying and luxury enthusiasts more generally. And she did say in her video that this was her personal choice, and if you still enjoyed these things, that was entirely a matter for you. But she talked about some generalizations about being part of the herd, for example, and buying these things and collecting them. And then she talked about a number of lies that she felt that we'd all kind of been sucked into and bought these things for. And there were a lot of reaction videos to that, and I did one as well. And I, stand over that. Because when you put something out on social media and when you make it a general statement, there is going to be differing opinions and reactions. Had Niki made a video where she said, oh, and by the way, I don't think I'm going to be buying handbags anymore and I'm going to get rid of the ones that I have. I'm just not interested in that anymore for me personally. Do I think she would have had the same reactions? No, probably not. But when you put out a video talking about what you're doing personally and then talking about these generalizations to it, I think people are going to have an interest in that and there's going to be reactions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. What I do think crosses the line is that when we address those and when we look at those reactions, absolutely react to what Niki is saying, react to what she's saying about no longer buying luxury and about being part of the herd and about the lies that you've been told and if you've been sucked into it. And the language that she used, I think, generated a lot of the reaction. Certainly it generated a lot of my reaction. And when you use that language about a group of people, there's going to be reactions. But what isn't okay are personal attacks on her. And what isn't okay is personal attacks on the choices she makes. They're absolutely her choices. If she decides that she no longer is interested in this stuff, absolutely. I've talked before, if I could flick that switch, I'd have a lot more money in the bank. And if you're suddenly no longer interested and you're moving on and you want to focus more on your family or on other things, people's interests change. People's motivations change. What people want to do with their time and their energy and their money change. They grow. Absolutely, that is entirely your choice. And there should be no personal attack on that. There should be no, just like with Person Fleek, just like with Meredith, there should be nobody sitting behind a keyboard and personally having a go at that person for what they're doing. When you do, however, have more general aspects to your video, I do think that you can expect some reaction to that. And Caleb Snell recently did a video sitting down with Niki Sky and asking her questions. Caleb had also made a reaction to it. Niki had watched his reaction, and from the post that he put on Instagram, and of course I'll link all of these people down below, Niki had reached out to him and said that she'd watched his reaction video, that she felt it was the kindest and the one that tried to understand her reasoning most. So she agreed to sit down with him and ask questions. And the first thing I want to say, I've watched part of that video. I did not make it through the whole video, but first thing I want to say is that video was excellently done. Caleb did that video so professionally. It was put together so well. The editing was fabulous. I think it's Caleb's partner that does the editing, but it was amazingly done. It was a production that I don't think I will ever have the skills to put together as editing and do. And Caleb himself, I felt in that video, came across as an absolute star. I thought we had a talk show host in the making, and the way that I link it down below his channel. I thought it was very, very well done. And he gave Niki the opportunity to ask the questions that a lot of people were thinking about and a lot of people were raising with him. He put it on his Instagram in a safe space and in a way that was very measured and allowed Niki the chance to respond. And regardless of what you thought about Niki in that video and in Niki's answers in that video, whether you thought they were genuine or with a motive, whatever, regardless, it was a shining example of how you can challenge a person on what they're doing, but respectfully. And I thought that Caleb done a fabulous job. What I will say is that everyone will have different ways about doing things. Everyone will have a different tact. Melinda from Lux Purse Love also made a reaction video to Niki, and when Melinda had put hers out and I was chatting to her, she said to me, I'm looking forward to seeing yours because I know we will do these so differently, and I know that we will come at them so differently. Melinda, this probably doesn't reflect on me very well, but Melinda is very kind, and she did hers in a way that was probably softer than the way that I did mine. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. I enjoyed very much watching hers. My own style was obviously different. And I think, though, that regardless of how we do it, that it can be respectful. And I hope that when I have made those videos, that although I will not shy away from challenging certain things that are said in them, and although I will not comment on the things that may be difficult, I hope that I do it respectfully and measured, and that I never cross the line of it being personally attacking on an individual, because I just don't think that's okay. And seeing the comment that Meredith had received reminded me of the comments that Person Fleek received, brought to mind again the issue with Niki Sky, probably because Caleb's video had just been put out, and it brought that to mind as well. And it just made me think, it's not okay. And maybe just say it, put the camera on and say it, that those types of comments and how we deal with things we can do it in a way that isn't mean and nasty and isn't personal and doesn't tell someone it's okay for them to, they deserve to be robbed. Not that it's okay for them to be robbed and have their things stolen. They deserve it. Maybe they'll learn from it and stop buying so many handbags. What? Oh, no. Or that your children and you personally deserve to be attacked. Just no. Thank you for joining this little chit chat with me. Let me know what you think in the comment box. And as ever, I have no difficulty with differing opinions down there in the comment box on any of these issues, but please keep them respectful. Because at the end of the day, the people that sit behind these cameras and talk to you, myself, Meredith, Person Fleek, Caleb, Niki, everyone, they're human, they're people. We are people. And when you have something to say that is differing, absolutely say it. Respectfully say it. Challenge us, absolutely. But can we try not to cross that line when it becomes vicious and hateful and personally attacking? Because there really is no need. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this little chat in any way, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please do consider subscribing. And if you're not done with me yet, I'm going to leave another video for you on the screen to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care and I will see you again in the next one.